Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is Charles Moskowitz. It occurs to me that this whole impeachment hoax is an attempt to stop an investigation into international crime. You know, criminality, like a lot of other things, has become more international as in this past century and today. Just like international trade is international, you've got international crime syndicates, and you've got governments around the world that have been taken over by corruption or have been seriously compromised by corruption. And it seems to me that it is incumbent on our government, as a bare minimum, to investigate internationally such crime. And the possibility that American political figures and business people could get caught up in it. Because if we don't do that, then we're going to become as bad as some of these thoroughly corrupted nations, which are really run by criminal syndicates. And that means an international outreach. This was apparently understood by none other than President Bill Clinton, who in 1990 signed a treaty with Ukraine, by which Ukraine would help American law enforcement, and by that I assume Attorney General's office and the Department of Justice, investigate crime. And that's exactly what President Trump was doing when he sought information from Ukrainian Premier Zelensky. And that's what he should be doing. Our leaders are going to have to investigate crime. Now, in this particular case, the criminality has really permeated the Democratic Party, the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton's campaign, and it's a rotten scandal that I think we only know the tip of the iceberg on. And there is serious collusion with foreign powers on the part of the Democrats. This whole thing, the Mueller thing and this thing now, is a major case of projection. You know, when you had Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State making deals all over the world for big, big money, that's why she had the private server, so she could make these deals. The most egregious one, of course, was reported by the New York Times, and that was the sale of 15% of America's uranium supplies to a Russian organization, company, by which was partially owned by Putin. I mean, and in exchange, the Clinton Foundation got $150 million, and Bill Clinton was flown into the Kremlin and given a check for, I think, $500,000 to give a 20-minute speech. Now, those are major, major situations of corruption. And President Trump and Attorney General Barr are trying to get to the bottom of it. They're trying to find out who is behind the whole Mueller mess. I mean, who started that? How did that happen? And it certainly does have a political component. I see this whole thing as an underground war. On the one hand, you have the Democrats who have a double purpose. They're trying to cover up international corruption at a scale that we can only imagine. It's extremely immense. And it's been going on for a long time, and I think anyone who's has an even cursory understanding of politics, particularly during the Obama years, understands it and understands the kind of money that was, being transacted in exchange for, government access and the leveraging of government position. I mean, Biden, I don't even think was one of the biggest players in that game. I think he just, sucked up a few dollars for himself. But, I mean, the Clintons obviously are always the biggest players when you get down to it. Anytime you see international corruption, the Clintons have their fingerprint in there somewhere. And several other people. I mean, there was a lot of people implicated in it. And with Trump becoming president, which they did not expect to happen, they are concerned that they're going to be exposed. And so thus they're trying to take him down. It's a coup d'etat. They want to take him out of office because he threatens to expose this corrupt mess. And when President Trump says it's a coup d'etat, he's exactly right. What is President Trump doing and Attorney General Barr? They're investigating corruption, and they're asking foreign leaders to help because it's an international problem. It's no longer the days when everything happens inside a country. These are international, interconnected, corrupt syndicates. And we ought to expect our administration to go after this. If they don't go after it, then we're going to become no different than these third world countries that are owned outright by criminal syndicates. So I think we ought to, regardless of our political party, applaud this administration's attempt to clean up corruption. Now, I'm sure that Democrats will conventionally say, well, what about President Trump and his administration? Aren't they corrupt? What I'd say to that is that Trump appears to deal with corruption in his administration very quickly and very swiftly. I'll give the example of Scott Pruitt, the head of the Department of the Interior, who had to resign because he took a few extra flights and he might have taken a gift. We're talking about peanuts, minor events, as opposed to like Hillary Clinton with the Uranium One deal or the Clinton Foundation, which is a huge racket. We're talking about minor instances, and President Trump seems to respond to that. People disappear after doing those things. He's a fairly clean administration when this sort of stuff props up. And so, I think that he's in there along with Attorney General Barr to try to clean up the mess, and they're not going down easy. They're trying to take him out. So we ought to watch for that, and we ought to look at this from that perspective. This is an attempt to thwart a criminal investigation on an international level. Anyway, thanks for joining me, everyone. Charles Moskowitz. Have a great day.